Hello everyone, it's Vicky here today designing for Pink Fresh Studio, and I am using the beautiful Lovely Blooms collection, and I was really drawn to this paper that has the triangles all around it in sort of a starburst almost, sorry, a sunburst almost, and I wanted to use this in a slightly different way. I didn't want to leave it as is, I wanted to do something a bit more interesting. So I'm going to take this base paper with the blue, orange and green lines on it, and I'm going to cut down the sunburst style paper and use this on top of that background. Now I have a square photo, so I thought it would be really cute to draw squares around this paper and then cut them out and then offset the colours so that they were all mixed up. And you'll see what I mean by that in just a second. But what I'm doing first of all is I'm drawing the squares onto my paper so that I can cut them out. And that first set of lines I drew at, I think 1.5 inches out from the centre. Could be 2 inches. And then the rest of them are all 1 inch. So, so I draw several squares around the page, as you can see there. I'm just marking off on the straight, and then I'm going to draw the lines in and then cut them out. So it's quite easy to know the length of the lines because they're as long as the next quadrant, if that makes sense. It's hard to describe, but I think you can see what I'm doing, so hopefully it makes sense. So I just do all 4 sides. And then I'm going to cut these out, and I'm just going to use a ruler and a knife to do that because I could use my trimmer, but getting the corners perfect is sometimes a little bit tricky with a trimmer, I find. So there you go, I'm cutting out the middle one there, and that's my idea. I want to sort of flip it around so that I've got a really multicoloured, more dimensional looking background. So there they are all cut out, and I'm just going to distress the edges, which is what's going to give me my more dimensional feature to this layout. And I distress the outside and the inside of each. It's a bit tricky to do once you cut it out because it's a bit more delicate, but just adds to the texture having them all a bit wobbly. So I'm just going to stick that down just in the very corner because I'm going to do some sewing on here, and I don't want to put lots of glue, and I also want it to look dimensional. If I stick it flat, it loses some of that dimension. And off camera I sewed with gold thread diagonally across each way, so you can see on the where I flipped it, I included the orange to go with the green, and then the blue to go with the green, and then the pink to go with the blue, and then the pink to go with the orange. So I sort of did it in a pattern like that, and I quite like that. And it sort of looks like my photo, which is of me and my friends at a festival. It looks like we're framed by this whole layout, and I think it works well. It sort of draws your focus right to the middle of the layout. So now I'm just adding on some bits and pieces. I've put in a couple of frames. These are puffy stickers. I've put in some die cuts. I just want to add a bit of interest around those frames around my photo. So there's lots and lots of little bits in this collection. There's some more die cuts here that I have. Lots of little labels. I'm putting some onto my page. They say things like be present, happy me, best moment, choose happy, favourites, that sort of thing. All things that could relate to being at a concert. And incidentally, the act that we are watching is Sunita. Who remembers Sunita from the 80s? It was really good fun, actually. It's an 80s festival, so it was lots of fun to be there. So I'm sticking everything down. This layout, once you've done all the work of getting the squares and putting them down and sewing through them, it's actually quite simple to put together because it's just a case of tucking things in where I didn't fully stick it down, and making that extra interest on the frame. So I'm just putting some tissue paper on the back of my photo, just to have a little bit of separation from the photo and the papers. There we go. And yeah, just going to stick that on there. You don't actually see that center square in the end, but I cut it anyway because I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do at my point of cutting. I didn't really think through that it wouldn't be seen. Although it does look cute in there, right? Okay, so my photo's going down. I'm getting near the end now, but yeah, I think this sort of has a lovely different look about it. It's something different for me, and I really enjoyed doing it. I'm just sticking all the other bits. Very easy to stick. I'm just sticking them close to the bottoms, that they all you know, loose on the rest of the page, so they can be, you know, folded upwards to add more dimension if I wanted to put this on the wall, or they can stay flat for an album. Just adding some more tags on here, I think. Am I? Maybe not. There we go, just one up there. Best moment. I'm trying to sort of color coordinate those tags onto the appropriate colors on the layout. That's a little chipboard piece there. And now, of course, some enamel dots, and I'm going to put those sort of color coordinated, and I'm also going to put some in the center of the flowers, some of the flowers, just to add a little bit of extra interest as well. There we go. I think that's it. I think we're getting very close to the end. Just the title. My title is going to be Joy, and I'm going to put it under the photo. I'm just playing with it a little bit just to see where it looks best, but I settle on just about there. I think about putting the dot over the J, but it doesn't really work because it has to sit on the photo, so I don't use that in the end, and I just put Joy there. I think it's obvious it's Joy without the dot. And there's the final layout. I really, really hope that you've enjoyed this process and that you find some inspiration for your scrapbooking. I'm going to link below the products that I've used so that you can take a look at those. But if you do have any questions at all, let me know and I'll be happy to answer them. Just have a look at the close-ups just to see some of the detail work that I've done. And until next time, this has been Vicki for Pink Fresh Studio. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.